Hey everybody, it's Brandon, and back with our video reflection for week three. Excuse me, for the impressions of an Indian childhood. I'm gonna apologize now for any coughing that you'll hear. It is change of seasons here in South Carolina, so things are a little crazy right now. But I just wanted to come and to share a couple of more thoughts on impressions of an Indian childhood from our reading this week. I want to first um, connect Sa with Harriet Jacobs from our reading from the week before, and how Sa contests Carlisle's educational plan when the Indian savages would become civilized, and they would learn they would do this by learning English and becoming self-sufficient. And so I kind of feel like there was a hit to, or a slash at, the culture that Sa had grown up with and on the reservation, as if it wasn't civilized, or if the individuals who live there weren't self-sufficient, because we see that self-sufficiency through Sa's mother when she, offers meals to the elderly population of the reservation, and how her mom has become self-sufficient because the father has passed, and so she's kind of taken on the responsibility of heading up the family and bearing that economical and financial burden of making sure that the family stays above water or survives. And so, Sa and her family contest that, and they go against that grain because they are civilized and they are self-sufficient. And so, another way that I kind of linked Sa to Harriet Jacobs through the idea of transformity, or being a transformative character, is because she challenges the norm. She marries outside of her culture, and so this is, in a way, she's transforming the idea of the traditional marriage that she's seen. And so she's tasked with this, leads her to being tasked with the idea and the the opportunity to navigate between the white world that she knows and then her home world, because of marriage and some of those life decisions that she's made. And so I also want to talk about the idea of strength and power. And I have my notes over there, that's why I keep looking that way. And I think that the idea of strength and power and how they work together to build voice for these characters is showcased best, in my opinion, through Sa's mother, and how her mother's enmity toward what they call the pale faces comes because of her family's brokenness. And so we see that her family is broken because of the death of the father and the death of her daughter. And I don't know if it's the mother's brother or if it's the mother's brother-in-law, but all the text says that it's Sa's uncle. And so that she's having to build and find power in what she has left. And so she draws strength and power from picking up the pieces, as we would say, and carrying on. And so, but also, I think that she has amassed what we call a silent strength, and because she never discusses these issues with Sa. I mean, the only issue she really discusses is the idea of Sa um, going with the pale faces, and how it wasn't a question of if she would go, it was when she would go, and how she would rather for Sa to stay behind. And so I think that because she's endured so much and she's had to deal with so much, that she's amassed a silent strength. And so also the idea that she's viewed as a pillar of strength on the reservation. And so I think all that works together to continue the theme of voice and individuality, the course theme of power, strength, and voice, and that the mom too is very resourceful, and she's drawn from that, like Jacobs drew from her surroundings and her environment to build that strength to finally escape and to come up with an escape plan. And so I love seeing these ideas and these themes continue to weave themselves in the pieces that we read. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in our reading for next week. Talk to you soon.